What is going on, everyone? Anthony Drew Gary here, host of the How To Show, where we talk about optimizing life, money, and happiness one how to at a time. This week on the show, we're going to do a little bit of a pivot. We're not going to have a how to this time, but we're going to have a why. And every once in a while I do this. I feel like how to's and whys go together. And with where we are in the calendar right now, we're going to talk about why it's important to vote in your midterm election. I did a little bit of research, and the suggestion is that voter turnout during a presidential election year, usually somewhere between 55 and 60%, and during midterm elections, it usually drops by anywhere from 10 to 20%. And so if you look down your street and you see 10 houses, statistically, 1 to 2 households worth of people are not going to be voting in the midterm election. And we need to talk about that because there are important things that happen on the midterm ballots that frankly happen during the presidential election ballots as well that have ramifications that are close to home to you. And these are things that will impact your day-to-day life. And I found a resource on the web to talk more about how you can find out who's on your ballot, how you can get educated, and I want to share that now. So let's switch over. I found this resource and I wanted to share it with everyone. This is ballotready.org, BALLOTREADY. And this is a website that will help you find out who's on your ballot, find out where you can go to vote, and just a generalized good method of keeping yourself organized when it comes to getting involved for your midterm elections. And so the website works pretty straightforward, and I suspect it'll work the same if you're on a mobile device. You plug in your address and then you plug in your language and you hit get started, and I'll skip over that so that I can keep my address semi-private. Suspect majority of you know where I live, but the website comes up with all of the different things that are going to be on my ballot. And granted, you don't care about my ballot, but you care about your ballot, or at least I hope so. There are 26 different categories that can be voted on, and some of these are federal. You'll be able to vote for a senator and a House of Representatives rep, and that should be consistent no matter what state you're in. But you're also going to have different things on the state level, and this can get important to you. Things like the auditor and the treasurer. You really want to make sure that you understand who these people are and what they represent. And so if I click to auditor, we have 3 options. If we click to treasurer, we have 2 options, and you can click into each one of these individually. Maybe it's worthwhile to Google them and get to their websites and understand what they're about from a platform standpoint. But what I really want to spend time on today is talking about the local candidates. And these are going to be things like county commission, county council. These are specific to where I live. It would be city council if you live within a city, same sorts of ideas. But then you see things like the county sheriff and the county assessor, things that could really make an impact on the area that you live. If you feel like crime ought to be handled a certain way, you need to find out whether or not there are folks who are running for those offices who feel the same way you do or feel differently than you do, and you need to be educated about that. And the same goes for assessor. The most easily discussed item that the assessor would deal with is how property is taxed in your area. And so you want to make sure that you're supporting somebody that supports the viewpoint that you have, at least in general, or you have an understanding of what their viewpoint is so that you can go in eyes wide open. And so again, if we click to some of these, it looks like assessors running unopposed, looks like sheriff's running unopposed, but if we come to trustee, we're going to have options here. And so it's good to know what you're looking at and who is on your ballot before you show up to your polling location or before you mail in your ballot, whatever that looks like in the area that you live. You need to have research in front of you, because when you get to the ballot, it's just going to have a list of names. It's not going to tell you what these people are about, what their backgrounds are, what any of the media has said about them. It's just going to give you options, and you have to pick from there. And so you don't get a second bite at the apple to go into the ballot box being informed. You have to do it ahead of time. And so the other thing that I want to touch on right now is we have opportunities here at school board. And so these are folks who represent your school district and have the opportunity to impact what is going on at a day-to-day level. And if you have kids, it's very important that you know what these people are up to. and that you have an idea of what they stand for, because you select one candidate from maybe at large and one candidate from a local level. But I think that it's important for you to understand who you're voting for, and if no other reason than to be well informed and to have a say in what goes on in your school system, specifically if you have children. But I think you should be interested in this even if you don't, because it ultimately has an influence on the policies that are made at the local level in the schools. How your teachers are treated, how they're compensated, how your students are learning. All of these sorts of things are very important. And so I want to make sure that I've shared this resource. It's ballotready.org, such that you can be well prepared by using this resource in combination with maybe Google or jumping on your phone, finding out who these candidates are in greater detail. This basically gives you the checklist to make sure that you've talked about these folks. And so the last thing that I want to talk about is the judicial candidates section. And basically, these are questions that'll be at the end of the ballot. These are specifically tied to justices or courts. And basically, do you want to retain so-and-so? And it'll say yes or no. And if you're not prepared for these questions, you're going to get to the ballot box and wonder, probably first and foremost, who in the world are these people? But secondly, should we retain them? Well, if you haven't done your homework, the answer is I have no idea if we should retain them. So you want to double click into this, check out who is on your ballot in your area, make sure you're going to the polls well informed. That's going to bring this episode of the show to a close. I hope that you vote in this coming election, and to me, it personally doesn't matter what you vote for, but I hope that you vote, and I hope you're informed, and hopefully this video can help you be all of those things. If you've got any feedback down below, let me know in the comments. And as always, you can be the first to know about new content on the channel each and every Wednesday. If you hit the notification bell and the subscribe button, you'll be the first to know about those things. As always, you can get in touch with me in the comments below if you have future ideas for topics on the show, or if you are looking to navigate the real estate market that we find ourselves in, you can get in touch with me in the comments or at indiedwell.com. Happy to help you in either direction. Love talking about real estate, and that'll never change. Until next time, this is Anthony Drew Gary, host of The How To Show, signing off.